Welcome to the last episode on the special report, Mental Health in Construction. The last couple of weeks, we've been looking at the latest figures, the real figures, with Steve from Construction Sport. This week, I thought it'd be good to get someone's view who works in the industry with a company, micro, SME, 20 employees, what they want, what they would like to see to support them and their team. So joining me is Sean Gilbert, company SGCS based in Surrey, where they look at high-end properties, do the refurbs, extensions, outbuildings, etc. So Sean, welcome.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
First question, obviously we're all aware of the problems in construction with mental health, the figures of suicide going up.
Yeah.
What's your view on this? You're obviously aware of it.
Obviously, there definitely is something happening, something going on. There is. It all stems from some issues that probably builders and the tradesmen sort of get more than others.
What do you think it is?
For me, I think a lot of it is because a lot of builders, other than apprentices, will fall into the business, fall into the trades. They may not have really had a great school life and sort of back themselves up with stuff. You kind of fall into a job, and it kind of works that way. And it's really hard for people to get a good steady footing and build a good life from it. Majority of labourers, builders, youngsters like a drink, like a gamble, like a baby, an unplanned baby. It's always a good one in the building trade. There seems to be a lot of dads that had a lot of kids young,
Yeah.
And I think that all constitutes to bigger pressures, or adds a pressure onto everything else for it's another mouth to feed, another dependent, extra time needed, kid needs appointments as well. So I think that all adds to it, and it just makes the pressure behind the standard living working man harder, it definitely does.
And you've had a couple of experiences.
Yeah, in the past, we've got some people who've had some, I call it really a crisis. Some of them are stuck in that endless loop where they just can't get out of it, no matter what good advice they're given by other people, other tradesmen, friends, even architects, anybody who we work with regularly, people just aren't taking the advice for whatever reasons because they don't think it's right or they're just stuck in their way, But yeah, there is where we are is quite a wealthy area, which means rents are high, it's just all extra burden, I think all of these things just add up to just pressure.
Are you able to give an example of anything that's happened? Because you've got a team of what, 15, 16?
Yeah, anywhere between, most of the time we're around 20-ish mark, with various subcontractors coming in and out. And there is a few that have been the same for 10, 15 years that I've known, and they're never really going to change because they won't change their habits. And don't mean by habits just a cocaine habit or a drinking habit or gambling habit, they're just in a cycle, might have a toxic girlfriend or partner, which adds to things. People want to need to change. Need to want to change to get that ball rolling. There's plenty of people around them on site that will sit down with someone and have a chat, and when someone's off, you can see it in someone's work, you can see it in their mannerisms or their body language. But there is a lot of pressures on young guys at the moment, I'd say, more than normal.
But interestingly, you said wanting to change that habit. And when you get into that, having been there, it's just a repetitive cycle. And it is so hard to break. If it's gambling, booze, drugs, whatever it is. But the key thing I've found, that person will only get help when they want to get help. You could have a million lads at work saying, mate, come sort yourself out, let's have a chat. But
yeah, definitely. The trouble is sometimes it's harder to make a change than it is just to keep going around this same cycle. You've almost got to cut your nose off to spite your face sometimes just to get something sorted, and it might mean that something costs you a bit more money one week to make a change, or it's tough being a young guy, and there's like social media. There's a big lot of bullshit on social media. People are living fake lives, and people are looking at thinking that's normal, and why haven't they got that? And why haven't they, they don't feel like they haven't achieved anything. I think I was late 20s thinking I need a major change in my life. And I didn't really ever take it. In the end, I had quite a lot of traumatic experience going on, and I built a business through that, and it's lucky.
Because you wanted to?
Yeah, because I always wanted to work for myself.
Not because someone was telling you?
No, I'm not very good at taking orders too much, so I like...
But the important thing is, for people watching, you were going through some difficulty. You thought, I need to improve myself, better standard of living. I'm going to make this.
Yeah. I like to think of myself as a leading character, as in, I know what I want, I know where I want to go, and I know I'm going to get there. I feel that I can lead a group of people, whether it be in a rugby field, football field, at work. I enjoy the leader, and I like a bit of pressure. I thrive on it a little bit. There's a lot of stress involved as well, which I don't like so much. My poor wife gets the brunt of a majority of that. But I enjoy leading. Is what I like to do. And
being a leader.
Yes.
Do you think you're equipped if someone comes to you and go, mate, I've had enough, I'm done? Because being a leader is very different to that. And there's all these tick box courses of how to be a first aider.
Yeah.
It's a bit different though, isn't it?
I can only do it as, I can only take on that experience as a friend, another fellow young man who's got issues as well. And I can give people feedback from my life experiences, but there is not really a huge amount of help. Whether the word anxiety seems to be getting thrown around a lot nowadays. Even guys are getting anxious. Don't want to leave the house. I'm not sure where that's all stemmed from. It definitely seems worse since the whole COVID thing. I do think mental health, whether you're male, female, whatever, definitely needs some kind of extra service. I've had it before when people have had a bit of a crisis, and I've helped them out, and the police have been involved, and the first thing they try and do is palm people off to accident and emergency, A&E. Nuts. That's not what it's there for, and they are already so under pressure financially, workload. They do not need someone who's going through what is quite possibly the worst time of their life, wanting to hurt themselves or someone else. There needs someone to step in. There needs to be somewhere other than just a psychiatric hospital. There needs a middle ground, like a responder, like a mental health responder. That it just doesn't seem to be available.
Well, that's one of the last questions, what you'd like to see. So we'll come back to that. But running a small company, 20 odd staff, do you feel you and others have got the support from the industry that you need?
No.
Bearing in mind, there's 3.2 million of us in construction.
Okay. So I've been on my own, working for myself. I've been in the building trade for 20 years. I've been on my own for 9.5 years. I've never had one person offer us any help to do with mental health. Never ever had a company ring us and say, or a government send something out and say, mental health for your staff. Not once. Nothing. So
it's ludicrous, isn't it?
It's nuts. It is.
We've got the highest suicide rates, which we talked about in previous episodes,
nuts.
and you think we're kind of left alone as an industry, aren't we?
Massively. But then some people do look down on tradesmen. I don't know why.
A lot of people do.
They're the backbone of the country,
A lot of people do.
Yeah, and they're the hardest working guys, but we're not. They are frowned upon.
So we're back to almost being a class thing.
Possibly, yeah.
Do you think it'd be different if we all worked in an office in a suit?
I'm sure life would be very different, but yeah, whether or not it's still stressful, and the whole. There will always be pressures. Affordable housing, big rents, all these things, it all adds up, doesn't it? Whether the youngsters have got child maintenance problems, say toxic relationships, that's always going to happen, no matter what class we are. It's just there has not been any help at all that I see.
One thing you pointed me in the direction of a few months ago, and we're looking at it just before we came in here. Do you want to just talk a little bit about that Facebook group?
Yeah.
Because
so my friend,
it's kind of
Yeah,
it's
oh,
brilliant,
it's been
I
amazing.
think.
Yeah. So my friend Daniel O'Reilly, aka Dapper Laughs, is a real big advocate for mental health in men. He has started a Facebook group probably about 18 months ago called Men and Their Emotions. So it's just MATE on Facebook. It's got 46,000 members now. There is lots of people who have experienced things, who have got through it, that are helping advise other people. And there's people in there, having the worst time in their life, who are on the edge of quite possibly not contacting anyone and just take themselves off somewhere and doing the unthinkable. It has been brilliant. If you think you've got some good advice for somebody, come and join it. You might save someone's life. You may save someone's life.
Well, we were looking at it before we came in here, and
it's incredible.
there was a lot of people at the end.
It's incredible, and how quickly the guys. I don't think there might be some women on there, but it's mainly men on there. How quickly people are responding to people who are calling out 4 o'clock in the morning. I need to talk to someone. What do we do? And it's been incredible. That website has definitely saved lives. I don't know how many. It definitely saved lives, and he should be so proud of what he's done there, because there was nothing before, or nothing that I'd ever come across or seen, and that's such an easy task. Facebook is such an easy thing. I'd like to think there's got to be 60-70% of the country uses Facebook. So, and it's just such an easy tool. You can be on that, and you can post something in 30 seconds, and you can also respond and see a post and respond to it in 30 seconds.
I think the good thing is that because of social media, we've got access to things like this, and as you say, he set that up 18 months to go on to best part of 50,000 people.
Yeah, social media has good, and has bad.
Yeah,
and the bad is all the fake bullshit that people see that thinks normal, and they have to aspire to it, and if they're not getting it, that can cause depression, I'm sure. It is very fake in that respect, but it's also life-saving. And I use a lot of social media for work, and it's brilliant. But I can see how it could be easily go the wrong way.
Yeah, it can be very toxic.
Yeah.
So if you are watching this and want to go on and have a look, it's Men and Their Emotions Mate on Facebook. Join the group, not just to get advice, but if, as Sean says, if you've been through something and want to give advice, I think that's where as a community it works so well, because as Sean said, and we've been on there and had a look this morning, you put a post on within no time at all.
Yeah.
Someone's helping. And at the moment, with the lack of support we're getting, groups like this need to be promoted, because obviously your mate is doing
free.
fantastic work.
He does it for free. He's no earning anything out of it. The people the administrators, the moderators, no one's getting paid. That's people doing it out of the kindness of their own heart. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Great to hear. So moving forward, everyone's like, what would you do to change the industry? What would you bring in? Well, it's $1 million question, but we are going to have a new government, love them or loathe them, come in by the looks of it. If they said, would you pay a small levy or tax each year out of your company? So I always believe you can't have everybody paying the same. So if you've got a one-man band painting and decorating firm, or you've got 28,000 employees, it's a bit different.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm talking a tiny percentage to go towards something. Would you go, look, there should be something in place already, or actually I'd support it?
There should be something in place already, because we pay a lot of tax, corporation tax, VAT. We pay a lot of tax in every single way. I'm pretty sure we're the most taxed country in the world, I think, aren't we?
It's ridiculous.
We pay a lot of tax and a lot of levy. If it was small enough that you don't even notice it, we'd participate, of course. I do think that's something that should be included in the astronomical figures we already pay.
You're right, we are. I mean, you think about it, you get taxed on that bottle of water you've bought, you get taxed when you die. I mean, it's... Somehow the government have run out of money, although they do find it for certain things. Yeah. But I think what, as an industry, we're trying to do is work out what we need to put in place. And if government say they haven't got any money, I believe that if we're all to pay a small amount, bearing in mind we're a big industry, we don't need each of us to pay big money.
No.
There's 3.2 million of us, all to pay a little bit.
Yeah.
I think realistically though, moving forward, have you got any hope on this?
Not really. I'd like to think that the government are going to do something somewhere, because the numbers don't lie. Like we say, the numbers do not lie. I would love to see them put some money into whether it's supporting people having their crisis or the prevention of people having this crisis. Prevention is as good as cure.
That was my next question. What would you put in place? And it's interesting you said that word.
Yeah, prevention. It's not just suicide awareness; it's suicide prevention. If you can stop someone putting themselves in that black hole, then why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't you help somebody? That's what I don't understand. I don't see why people aren't willing to help people. And unfortunately, I've had a few experiences where I've had to go and see friends late at night because I'm getting that call. The call that you'd rather have that call than not have that call.
Yeah.
But having to go and sit with friends, take them away, take them out of whatever situation they're in, and it's pretty traumatic for them and for myself. I'd definitely rather my friends did call me, but it's not the most enjoyable experience. I just think that there should be someone to help them, and some of the experiences have come from guys who are in, let's say, toxic relationships, who have had to leave the family home during an argument, and there's nowhere to go. There's not really any hostels anymore. There's no areas that you can just get a kit for a night. So they end up sleeping in a garage or down by the river under a bridge, or there just needs something somewhere. I've had to put guys up in a Premier Inn for a night, just so they've got a roof over their head. It's not right. I don't think it's right. For the amount of tax we pay, I don't think it's right.
It's not right. And if you look at any relationship, sometimes they go wrong, sometimes they go horrendous.
Yeah.
Why should the man or woman be out on the street?
Yeah.
I slept in my van.
Yeah.
And, I'd done nothing wrong, but going into details, I was put into that position, I'd know where to go.
Yeah.
And you sort of sofa surf. And,
but the trouble is, if you were sleeping in your van but you'd had a drink that afternoon and the police pull you,
you're done.
You lose your licence.
Yeah.
You'll sleep in a car. But it's nuts.
So you talked about this earlier, some sort of hostel
or
where
halfway house or something.
Because years ago there were things like
that. How many disused or empty offices, buildings, warehouses? How many empty buildings are there? Shops. How easy, would that really be to implement? You could have an empty shop unit that's doing nothing, just a couple of beds in there, pin code on the door, you're having a crisis, go to the door, ring a number, someone talks you through, okay, you're in this situation, here's the pin code, go and get your head down. How easy is that? It's an empty building. I'm sure there'll be people who would somehow take advantage of that, but if you can work out those sort of details later, you make it no alcohol on site, blah, 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 blah. And even if a normal homeless person used it, good, great, get off the street, great. Why would you not do it? There's so many empty buildings. We all know the high street's on its arse, and how many empty units there are. It just makes no sense that they can't use them, for me.
There seems to be a lot of common sense answers to this. I mean, you said about preventative. So Steve from Construction Sport, that was on the last couple of episodes, his is all about being proactive, not reactive, because, when you get there, you're there.
Yeah.
But why should someone be allowed to get to that stage when you can almost see a path of where they're headed?
But that's the trouble is, once you're in there, you don't see a path. You only most of my guys only see one path.
One way out.
It's not the one we want, And it does affect women as well, but it's the men who just don't seem to talk about it. I've come across a lot of women who've got various anxiety issues and stuff as well, and most of them will tell you, this is what I've got in society. This is why I think I've got it. I'll try and manage it. But guys, you don't say nothing until it's too late, really. So yeah.
Well, I think it'll be interesting to see what the next government do.
Yeah.
All being
Not
well,
long now, not long to wait.
not long to wait, but all being well, we are going to be working with them.
Good.
We want to be that voice for the 98% of micro and SMEs, and that's why if you are watching and you've got any questions, comments, ideas, please send them in, because as we grow with you, we want to make the industry better, which is one of the main reasons we've set this up. And I've always said we've got a great industry with wonderful people, but there's some obvious pitfalls, which actually I think are quite straightforward to sort out. So, Sean, thank you for coming in.
No problems.
And as Sean mentioned earlier, Men and Their Emotions, Mate on Facebook, go and have a look. Even if you just want to help someone out. And I'll tell you one thing, even if you put a comment on there to help somebody, how good you feel doing it. It's not just people that need that. It's, try and give something back. So next week, the news starts. So we will be doing highlights and news topics from across the construction industry in the UK. And until then, Sean, thanks again.
No problems.
And next week, we'll be back with the beginning of the news.